All right, we are live, episode 3 of the Arm Wrestling Pulse, and we have a special guest with us today. Of course, we have our host, myself, Derek Smith, and ET, the Arm Wrestling Whisperer. You want to say hi?
What's up, everybody?
Yep. Yeah. You don't
We
usually hear
found
him out whispering, but yeah, we bring him on. This is the Pulse podcast where we go through all. I had to get that in there. We go through all the interesting topics on Reddit for the past week. We have all kinds of interesting questions, new arm wrestlers, seasoned arm wrestlers. We'll touch on some hot topics in the community and hopefully all come out the other side better arm wrestlers for it. So to kick things off, I got to start with this post. Derek and I finally met. Man, we've been talking for 3 years. As one person put it, it was like a 90-day fiance. I saw him from across the room at the Winter Blast tournament, and I was like, there he is. So, yeah, Derek and I have been buds for a while, but e-buds, right? We've been running the subreddit, chatting and stuff, and then at Winter Blast in Pennsylvania, we finally met. So,
well, I definitely want to mention also before we get fully into this, ET, you guys is at work right now. We tracked him down while he's working, so he might randomly have to kind of get up and talk to a customer and mute his mic. So if you guys see that, he's not being just a dick. He has to work. He has to go do some stuff. So excuse him.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you doing this with us.
Although he can't be.
Yeah, I'm posting the link right now, so that's why I'm looking at my other phone.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, and Derek, you guys are training partners, right?
Yeah. He's on the squad. That's one of my team captains. So my captain is my team is split up into a couple different groups, and so ET runs the Alpha Empire East group. They're kind of in the desert.
Yep.
Because I told him when he first started training with us that he was driving like 2.5, 3 hours every single Sunday to come to practice. And I would always tell him hey, from practice number 1 or 2, I was like, all right, I'm gonna start teaching you how to run your own team because I know this isn't sustainable for you to drive this long every single Sunday. And he did it for years, still made it every single Sunday. But I told him, that's the goal is to get you ready to run your own team. And so as soon as he had enough members and it made sense, and I know that drive was getting old, then he started kind of doing his own thing.
So you are franchising out your arm wrestling team. That's hardcore, man. You have a
big. We get big. We're big.
Yeah. How many? I mean, do you have a head count, or is it?
It always fluctuates. Who's on the team? A guy will stop showing up for 4 months. Is he still on the team? I don't know. It's ups and downs.
Yeah, you never know.
How big has your group gotten out there, ET? What's the biggest you've had?
It depends on the day. Unfortunately, some days, because most of my teammates are Marines, we can have 2 or 3 people. On awesome days when they're not in the field, we can have maybe 10 or 12 people. So yeah.
And then he tries to make it at what, every other practice. So he still comes out to mine, but it's every other one or other one.
Yeah.
Out to the big one. Because mine would be a consistent 20 to 30 somewhere in there usually at my practice on Sundays. The main one, the bigger one, I guess, whatever you want to call it.
And not that this is supposed to be just a total interview, blow up your spot, AT, but how long have you been arm wrestling for? How'd you find the sport? Just catch people up to speed there.
I started in 2019. I've been pretty consistent every week, except for there's one point where I had to take 6 months off. So probably around 3.5 years in total.
Yeah.
I found the sport by I was scrolling down on YouTube, and I saw the video with Devin and Michael Todd, the WAO one.
Nice.
So I instantly got into the sport after that, started training. I messaged Derek. It took him 3 months to get back to me, but he finally did. And then I met with the Alpha Empire team. Where did I start? It was at Brew Rebellion, right, Derek?
Did you go to a Brew Rebellion practice? Oh, wow. Yeah. You couldn't have been there long. You must have went to 1 or 2, and then we moved. It
was 3. I had my first practice, then my second practice. You had me do a super match, and then my last practice there, and then we left.
Yeah. Man. ET's been with us for a while, and the Arm Wrestling Whisperer, the Arm Wrestling Planet, the Arm Wrestling Biker. Been on the squad for a hot minute.
Sweet.
But
right,
in terms of meeting you, though, Ryan, you were bigger than I thought. I was telling myself that you were a big guy, and I was like, I think he's gonna be bigger than I think, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that. When Derek Smith thinks you're big, that's
I forget how big I am. Because I'm not looking at myself, I'm looking out. I remember, I've met people, and I swear, when I first met Brian Shaw back in the day, I felt like I was looking straight up.
Yeah.
Although I'm actually a little taller than Brian, but I swear I was looking vertical.
Are you really? Jesus, man.
Yeah. We measured. I got a little bit on him. a little bit.
Yeah. Watching him walk around normal people. That clip recently surfaced from him at, I think, the Shaw Classic, and he just dwarfs people, man. It's wild. And you're taller than him. Any plans to meet up with him again? You and him arm wrestled a bit. Any updates there?
No. I mean, not right now. We've texted a little bit back and forth, but mostly he's just like, little links to this and that, and are you still training your wrists and things like that.
Yeah. So
last I heard, he's still training his hand and wrist, but he hasn't told me in terms of like his plans for arm wrestling.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm sure as he nears, like, he wants to finish his strongman career. So as he nears the end of that, I'm sure I'll start getting updates from him on arm wrestling if he's still interested in it. So
sweet. Awesome, man. All right, let's get into the meat of things here. So again, we're going through posts on the arm wrestling subreddit, and we're starting off with some training questions. And I want to preface it by someone shared an old article from armpower.net asking how Dave Chafee trains, and then that will bring us into some questions from members on how they should train. So the interviewer asked, what is a day of training like for you, Dave Chafee? And Dave responded, my training schedule consists of a bunch of different things. Sunday, I do biceps and triceps and pronation with sledgehammers. Monday, I do handle work on the table. Tuesday is side pressure, a whole day for side pressure. Wednesday, biceps and triceps, and we train as a team on the table. Thursday is back and chest, pronation and back pressure. Friday, handle work on the table. Saturday, another day for side pressure. And then I take days off as I need. So interesting, he has 2 days for side pressure, and this was shared by JJG4L. And that brings us into this, which is a question from a 17-year-old saying, how should I start with my arm wrestling training? And I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Brand new, teenager, 17, wants to get into the sport. Does he focus weights? Does he focus table? What do you do with your new, younger, because age does, I think, matter here, arm wrestlers?
I mean, I think it's interesting that Dave's hitting biceps twice, and side pressure, I'm going to assume, is like his chest, his pecs, things like that for internal rotation and sliding your elbow and things of that nature. Maybe some shoulders. So I'm assuming side pressure is chest, shoulder day, and then bicep day. But I've actually been thinking about trying to do that twice a week. I've been thinking about especially if I wasn't getting table time, trying to up it to twice a week. So I'm doing it once a week right now. Well,
right.
Chest once a week, shoulder once a week. Like I have on separate days, But I mean, it sounds, pretty straightforward. It's nothing too crazy. It's not like he's taking a ton of time off. He must be healing pretty fast. However he's doing that, rehab or something. And then the table time, I mean, and all table time isn't created equal. So when people read table time, that doesn't mean it's, career ending sideways with, ropes tied to you, like blasting your arm, or it could just be light. He's holding some new guys. It's kind of like, it could be entirely different. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense that he would do that and get that strong. But I'd be really interested in hearing his reps and sets and seeing what specific lifts he's doing, not just broad biceps and triceps and things like that.
Right. So
what do you think, ET?
Yeah, let's get your thoughts.
I think it's one of those things where everyone's different, right? Like even at the beginning or elite level, some people prefer a bunch of table time, some people prefer more at the gym. For me, it was always just table time. I used to go to the gym a lot before I started arm wrestling, but once I started, all I've been wanting to do was arm wrestle. So for me, if I go to the gym and break my stuff down and then I'm not as fresh on the table, then I'm like, why am I even going to the gym? I want to have fun arm wrestling all day long. So I think I'm still at that level, though, where I could benefit from arm wrestling twice or 3 times a week. But like Derek's told me, there's going to come a point where you're just not going to get too sore at table practice, or you're going to have to start implementing the gym if you really want to get stronger in like specific movements that'll help you start advancing. So I know the gym time's coming for me, but right now I'm still that guy that just prefers to get on the table 2 or 3 times a week at least and just train.
Yeah, no, that's impressive. Your connective tissue can handle that. And yeah, I think table time should definitely be a priority, especially early on, because until you've really gripped up on the table and done a decent amount of arm wrestling, you don't really even know what to look for in the gym, right? Because in the gym, you want to emulate what's going on the table. But if you haven't arm wrestled very much, you don't know the very nuanced vectors that you have to hit at the gym, right? So you might know, pronator, I hear that all the time, pronate this, pronate that, but it's not just hitting your pronator. You want to use it in a way that feels like arm wrestling. And so, especially for new guys, get on the table. Your tendons and ligaments have to get conditioned anyways, and that will arm you with the knowledge you need for eventually adding in that gym time, like ET said.
Yeah, I mean, because the original thing was a guy asking how he should do it as a new guy, right? I wouldn't structure it off Dave Chafee. as a regular guy. No, I would definitely tell you more table time. And I would take a look at your style of table time you're getting, but definitely you have so much to gain at the beginning of your career on the table in terms of learning how to be safe, how to, like the ABCs of arm wrestling, how to utilize a certain muscle. There's so much you gain on being on the table for an hour as a new guy that emphasize that at first for sure in terms of learning right now.
Yeah. And then not to spend too much time on this. This was posted by user Wall Street Lewis, by the way. When you get to that Chafee level, it seems like, again, different strokes for different folks, but you have someone like Devin who trains multiple times a day of, smaller things, doing shorter sessions, but then Chafee seems to do more of like a traditional split at the gym where you go, you hit the gym, and then you stop. Do you have any thoughts on that, either of you guys? Like multiple workouts a day, but smaller, or like hit it hard for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then rest?
I'm okay with doing splitting my workouts. Just all my workouts are big muscles, little muscles. So big muscle groups being chest, shoulder, bicep, try whatever, and then I do hand and wrist. Kind of, there's like a halftime show at my gym session. I usually do them at the same session, but I wouldn't mind splitting up, doing my hand and wrist work later in the night or something like that. But I wouldn't probably do biceps twice a day. I wouldn't do like half of my bicep workout now and then wait 4 hours to do half my bicep the second.
Yeah, that sounds weird even saying it.
I wouldn't want to cool off and get hot again. I wouldn't want to do all that.
Okay, and how about you, ET? Do you usually just, when you're doing your gym time, is it just you hit the gym, then you're done, or are you kind of doing stuff throughout the day?
Well, so right now, the only thing I'm doing in the gym is really just blood flow, and it's like outside my garage or in my house. So I will do it multiple times a day.
Right.
So when I do start doing more lifts with numbers and heavier weights, I probably would take that and do it multiple times a day because I like my table sessions long as I can have it, but I don't want to just be in my garage lifting weights all day. I'd just probably go in and out or have something like a belt in my house and just do that multiple times a day. I feel would be better for my schedule.
Yeah,
probably.
Fair. Yeah, that's another thing you have to take into account. Your schedule, what you do for work. So
no, there's no such thing as schedules, man. No. Everybody just has unlimited free time, and there's no such thing as life or anything else getting in the way.
Oh man, I've been doing it wrong, dude. Damn.
Yeah, no. According to all critics, man, we all just live perfect lives, and everybody's just being lazy pieces of crap. If you're not training optimally 100% every single day, then you're just not loving the sport, man.
Yeah. So we kind of answered. This is the next question by Karksock Son FK. He asked, how often should I arm wrestle as a beginner to avoid injury? Derek kind of nailed that. Not all time on the table is equal, right? It depends. Are you going against opponents who are whipping you across the table and then you're out for 2 weeks because you're just hurting all the time, or are you the strongest guy there? So I think it depends. Typically, I would say once a week minimum, but you have to be smart about it, right? You got to know when to stop. I know it's tempting to keep going when your body's really beat up, and you should probably just call it for the day. But my answer to that would be listen to your body. Treat it like, you wouldn't go to the gym and just bang out bench press nonstop for 3 hours straight until your body's just in excruciating pain. Arm wrestling similar, right? What do you guys think?
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just new guys. You gotta remember, this is all new pressures on your bones and on your ligaments and on your tendons and everything like that. So like you're going hard at it, and it's gonna hurt. Your body's not used to this. Your body has spent, whatever, anywhere from 17 to 40 years not doing this, right?
Yeah.
And so suddenly you're doing this with a ton of resistance, so it's gonna hurt. And so the odds of injury are higher at the beginning if you're real stupid with it, right? So you gotta take it real serious in terms of warmed up, hydrated. Make sure you're going in there and feeling good each time you're going into a session and not just continually tearing down. You have to build up and heal.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people underestimate healing in arm wrestling. So.
Yeah, we actually have a post on that a little later. But next up, we have this post. Please bring back the bottom 8. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, what's going on? Any word? Has anyone talked to Devin? So for those who don't know, the bottom 8, I think the last one was like 2019. They just take interesting people from the arm wrestling community and put them against each other. For example, here we have Juji Mufu in a beaver costume going against the beaver pumper. And so this is the kind of stuff you get to see at the bottom 8. And I think bottom 8-2 was going to happen, and then they had to cancel it. Any word? Do you guys know what's going on with this?
No. ET, have you heard anything?
I've not heard anything.
No. Okay.
The list that they put there is pretty interesting. They're pretty interesting names. I mean, with Igor and Bart, Pradeep and Issa, the Ermi's buddy, Ryan Bowen and Gary Roberts, Beerman and Nunya, Chris Gabi and Grant, and SG Records, Adam Silver, Aussie arm wrestler Paul Italia. Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Yeah, and the other ones, Bill Collins and Crazy George. No, those. Why would they be in the bottom 8? Those guys are legit arm wrestlers. Akimbo is a legit arm wrestler too. He would crush Juji. No way.
Yeah.
Akimbo's the guy on TikTok, right? That's the Russian guy, right?
Yeah, he's
so. Yeah.
strong. The stuff he could do. Yeah.
But dude, Chris Gabi versus Grant, I would watch that.
That is interesting. That is very interesting.
Pradeep and Issa, that could be interesting as hell.
Bowen would destroy Roberts, but
yeah, Bowen would destroy Gary. Igor and Bart would. Igor was a beast, but I don't know if he's training or where he's at. And Bart trains consistently, but he's smaller, so I don't know how that would look. Beerman and Nunya, Beerman would win that pretty convincingly.
Yeah.
I think SG Records and Adam Silver. I don't know anything about SG Records in terms of how strong he is.
Yeah.
Adam Silver is pretty strong. Did you grab up with Adam recently, ET?
Yeah, his side pressure is really good.
Oh, really?
Adam's not. He's a lot stronger than you think when you look at him. He's a lot stronger than you think.
He just got surgery too, so it's like strength. Despite all that, it's really good.
Yeah. Speaking of, Larry just had his first professional arm wrestling tournament win. Here's the overall against Alan Fisher here. And yeah, Larry's on the scene, guys. He is the real deal. ET, I think you did some after pulling with him, right? So that's Larry winning.
ET pulled him in the left. Wait, didn't you in the left overalls too? ET pulled him in the left.
No, I pulled the Oleg because Oleg.
Oleg beat him. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, but at the end of that video, I did pull Larry, and he like flies me over the table.
Yeah,
I think it's at like 29 minutes or something.
Damn it, dude! All those people, man. They think you should throw Larry wheels across the table weighing 100 pounds less than him of pure muscle.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. Yeah, Larry's really the real deal now. Good stuff.
Hey, wait, one of these you get a little stop on him though. I know it shocked him. I know you got tight on one of these. It looked like it slowed him down for a minute. And he's like, "What?" He had to start taking you.
I can't even remember. I just remember flying over the table.
Yeah, what's up with you doing the Alan Fisher thing now, where you're picking up the table with your hips? You're doing the leg grab now.
I don't know. I think I'm just putting everything onto my arm.
Okay. I know you picked up the table, but it kind of stopped for a second.
Yeah, let's watch that again.
There was a little breaks in here. There was a little bit, some 165 breaks going on my boy Larry right there. You see that?
That's a clean stop. That's a clean stop.
Well done. Man, that is
very
so
well done. So yeah, Larry's on the scene. We have a question from Evil Cheddar. Should I adopt Michael Todd's training style? I'm more of a defensive puller, I noticed. In matches, I get knocked off center, but can hold out in some weirdish positions. I've followed his training, and it looks like he restricts blood flow to his arm. Also, art arm handle looks interesting. Not sure if it helps. So, more so, I mean, again, we can't say whether or not it's good for him to train exactly like Michael Todd, but what about those blood flow restriction cuffs? Have you guys tried those or read the science behind them? I know Michael swears by them.
I tried him when I was at Mike's house. I went up there for a workout. He'd strap me up, man.
Okay. I'm very interested.
Aching. Like your arm just starts throbbing and aching and hurting. Like after you're getting because he had me doing curls and stuff. And cuts off the circulation, and it's just like obviously the pump is stupid. Like you look like Ronnie Coleman or something. You're just so veiny. It looks ridiculous. But I can't speak to if it works or not. I'm sure there's some science that it does. I know. He's probably as far as I know, he's the only one that really does it at a high level. I mean, I can't think of any other elite guys I've seen put on BFR cuffs and do it. So there's that. So there's proof that you can make it without it.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm undecided on it. I mean, Mike's a lot stronger than people think. So I mean, it works for him somewhat. So I don't know. You ever tried doing that, cut off circulation, ET, while you lift?
No, I think I saw videos of that and Jeff Hale doing it, and then it was one of those things where I was like, oh, I'm definitely gonna give that a shot, and I never gave it a shot. So
Jeff Hale did it, right? Because Jeff and Mike are pretty close. Hey, can you swap my picture and ET's? Can you put me on the bottom and hit him on the middle? Is that possible, Ryan? Do you have control of that?
Let's see.
There you go. Yeah, you can, because all the comments are cutting off half his picture, and I'm like, this dude's prettier than him. Give him the full frame. Just have my head down here in the bottom. No, don't even shake your head. No, the host has to be on top because they got to look at you while you read the things.
Oh, okay. Well, here we'll do it that way. All right. Moving on. We have just a shout out. This is Richard Lepke's family has a GoFundMe. Just keep that in mind. They've if you have any time, give them some help. We'll post that in the comments there. They're going through a tough time. We love Richard Lepke's, so just keep that in mind.
Guys,
and then
honestly, Rich Lepke's is amazing and one of the nicest guys. If you ever met him, he's nicer than Paul Lynn. That's what I'm like. That nice, like he's like that nice.
Nice.
And the scariest
individual in the world. Be nicer than Paul.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you. If you meet Rich, you're like, oh, he's a scary dude. He goes, hey, how you doing, Derek? How's the family? How's it? Like he's like that nice of a guy. Like, oh wow. And you're like, oh, you just want to talk to him. It's so intimidating but cool at the same time. So yeah, I mean, if you guys are in the community, anybody watching this, I mean, that's one of our guys. That's one of our heroes. That's one of our main people. So if we can help out at all, by all means, next week, any super chats you're going to give me, I'd rather have you give it to Richard Lepke's and GoFundMe. So I can at least say that much.
Sweet. Next up, we have some footage from Gennady Kvikvinia training his wrist with 95 kilograms. So here's the clip here. And yeah, if you want to know what the wrists are like at the very elite level, there you go. So that's what, 210 pounds, something like that? Yeah, about 209 pounds. And he is wrist curling that. Let's bring it back there. Unbelievable. So yeah, I don't know what kind of weight you guys are doing. I mean, do you do just wrist curls like that, or do you always add a little more hand with a handle or something?
I don't do wrist curls like that. No, I don't do single dumbbell wrist curls on my knee like that. Yeah. I'll do small diameter stuff, but usually on like spinning handles or holding like a barbell. I don't do a lot of single dumbbell ones like that. Although I've been thinking about getting into it a little bit, but yeah, I definitely don't do it like that. Which sucks because there's so many lifts out there, people, heavy arm wrestlers doing stuff, and you want to recreate it. But everybody does like different lifts and different angles, and it's just like, and then people will be like, Derek, how much can you do on this guy's lift? Well, can I match his 200-pound lift my first time trying it? No, like I don't have to try this
right.
a little bit,
Yeah.
ET, have you tried dumbbell wrist curls like that or no?
I've never done them like that. I don't think I've even attempted half of his weight, or would if I did do that. But like, would you say that's the most effective? Do you think that you get a ton of wrist workout doing it that way versus if you were to get full flexion pulling down from a pulley? Because it's almost like it looks like you're doing one of those bicep curls where you hold it at the top and you get less work from it, kind of thing.
Well, because it's smaller diameter, it's not going to be at his angle he's using. It's not in his fingers. It's not challenging his fingers, which is important because if it's not in your fingers and it's completely in your palm, then it's 100% wrist flexion because all these joints are out of the equation, right? All your finger joints. So it's 100% in the palm. So it's going to target your wrist flexion more isolated and pure when you're doing a smaller diameter rolling or handle like that. So I think
it still works your wrist, just not your fingers.
Yeah, I think it's still killing his wrist for sure. That's why by all means, you guys, everybody go buy all the handles and stuff, and handles are great for isolating things, but don't undervalue a small diameter standard handle on a dumbbell or on a bench barbell or anything like that, because it's stuff that's in your palm can target wrist flexion better and get your fingers out of play. So sometimes you want things in your fingers to train fingers and train doing stuff in your fingers, but there's definitely a time where you don't need that. And so I think it's a lost art in arm wrestling. Everybody's like, gotta put fat grips on everything. No, you don't at all. Fat grips are for your fingers. So if you want to train your fingers, cool. But if you don't need fat grips.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good point. We need to differentiate between wrist flexion and finger flexion, right? You can do one and you can do the other. I think there are times to train both where there's a handle that's hitting both of them, but I also think it's good to isolate them. RVJ does plate finger curls where he'll put his fingers on the bottom of a plate and just do some finger flexion, things like that to really focus the fingers. And then here's kind of the opposite. Gennady putting that dumbbell on his wrist and focusing his wrist. So just keep in mind that.
That's crazy. RVJ can do that while he's drinking. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. I just like every video I see of RVJ, he's drunk lately.
Yeah. The first time I saw him in person, he had a glass of wine, but hey, he likes what he likes. It's working for him, I'm not gonna. I can't knock it.
I can't knock it. Yeah,
he's here's another question on some training. This person says periodization is missing. The arm wrestling community uses poor periodization, not enough rest. And there's the idea that if you do high reps for recovery, you are going to heal. So let's address that. Are you guys subscribers to the high rep, move your arm after a practice to kind of get blood flow and heal up a bit?
You go, ET. What do you think?
I love it. Yeah. I just, from when I started pulling with you, I remember how sore I used to be. And then I would do ice. I even bought like ice pack sleeves, take them out of the freezer. And then I figured out about heat. So like ice or heat, cold, contrast therapy, and all that stuff worked, but nothing worked better than when I just came home after practice and did hundreds of reps multiple times a day. I do believe that, when you dissect the body, muscles are red, tendons are white, but because there's less blood in the tendons, and that's what we break down. So by doing such high volume, you're flushing blood in and out of the tendons as well. And I do believe it helps recovery a lot, because now I don't do ice or heat at all. All I do is just blood flow.
What kind of reps are you doing? Like, what exercises have you found work best for you?
I do when I start the blood flow, I'll do cupping, pronation, pressing, rising, supination, reverse wrist curls. Sometimes I'll throw in jam presses, but my elbows don't really get that sore. And I'll just do whatever weight I can do for like 50 reps, so pretty light. And I'll just do it multiple times a day, 2 or 3 times. I'll usually do 2 sets back to back, and then if I'm really sore, then I'll do it extra throughout the day.
Okay. Sweet. Derek?
It depends on how I'm feeling and how tore up I am from practice. I mean, honestly and obviously, my hardcore table time has been lacking, right? I mean, due to my last match, if that wasn't apparent that I didn't have much elbow endurance, then I don't know what's apparent. So, but yeah, if, say I'm on a training hard for a match upcoming and somebody does come out, or I do have a super heavy practice where guys are using bands and I got all the work done where I'm dead. I'm sorry, I almost said the F word there. So I'm just dead. On those days, then I would think about the next. I usually don't do it the day of, but the next day I would probably start doing some rehab stuff on the elbow flexors and stuff, and just flushing blood into it. I mean, I think people, when it comes to this training is super simple. It's just a 3-part cycle in my eyes, right? So you tear it down, whatever it is, muscles or tendons or whatever, right? Via hard work, lifting in the gym, whatever you're gonna do. You put the right stuff in your blood, meaning hydrate, eat, supplements, whatever you're gonna do, make sure your blood's right, and you get the blood to the affected area via, scraping, cupping, all the different therapy ways. You get the blood to the area, and the blood heals. And then you do rinse and repeat. Then tear it back down, put the right stuff in the blood, get the blood there. Tear it down, right stuff in the blood, get the blood there. Over and over again. That's just how you get stronger, right? So, I mean, I think that there's a lot of ways to do it. Like I said, there is other ways besides, high rep stuff, but does high rep stuff work? Yeah. It just kind of hurts. At first, the first 20, 30 reps, I'm like, oh, and then it starts going away, the pump starts coming in, and it starts feeling better for me. So it depends on how, DEFCON 6 mode I'm going. Like if I'm all out training as hard as I can, then active rehab will be a little more, I'd probably do it more often.
Fair. Yeah. One of the tips I have on that front is basketball. Basketball is so good in my opinion, because when you're dribbling, you're getting wrist flexion, wrist extension. When you're shooting, now when I say basketball, I mean like just messing around in the gym, not playing necessarily a basketball game. But when you're shooting, there's elbow extension, elbow flexion. Even with a dribble, there's a little bit of supination and pronation involved. So I'll just go to the gym, mess around for about an hour, and get a similar kind of high rep workout in. Derek, you have a history with basketball. Do you play that anymore, or is
no, man? I can't play no basketball. I hung up the shoes a long time ago. I love basketball. It's one of my favorite things in the world. But arm wrestling, basketball, for me, don't go together with the snapping of the elbows for passes or rebound, just snapping my arms back and forth.
Fair.
I tried arm wrestling and playing in adult leagues and stuff for a while, and I'd have to leave at halftime. My hands would be shaking. My elbows would just be like blown up out of control, and I couldn't finish.
Yeah.
So I don't think ET plays basketball with those boots you'd be wearing all the time either.
Oh, I totally do. I used to. So when I moved to California in 2013, the first thing I bought was my motorcycle, and I'd always ride to there's a 24-hour fitness super sport in Santa Monica, and I'd ride there, and then I figured out they had a basketball court, so I'd get in on like 3v3 pickup games, and I'd be in jeans and boots. And I started.
What are you doing?
I started like every team I started off with like a team that no one liked, and then I worked my way up, and we started beating everyone. Every time I'd go there every night, people would want me on their team, and then I actually got kicked off of playing at that gym because someone complained that I was playing in boots and that I'm going to scuff up the court. So I had a decision: either bring shoes and shorts to the gym on my motorcycle or stop playing, and then I stopped since. But recently, I was in Arizona with my girlfriend, and we played this Airbnb, had like a basketball in the room, and we took it down to the court. I spent more time chasing the ball than anything, so I'm definitely horrible at it now. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, mixed reviews on the basketball idea.
On topic on ET's Boots, though, you guys, those of you guys that need risers are hard to find. Getting boots, and you can get like triple insoles and things like that to help. It's a thing. It's a thing that people don't think about. They always look chasing risers around because ET was always right on the verge of needing a riser and not needing a riser. I don't think he needed a full riser, but he needed a lift. And having the boots and getting like tall shoes, thick shoes like that can definitely make a huge difference. So think about that if you guys are contemplating needing a riser or using a riser.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Cognoscience posts, I'm cursed when it comes to arm wrestling. Anything I can do to make my wrists stronger and thicker. So I don't know if you guys remember, there was a lot of back and forth with RVJ and Bowen about whether you can actually increase the circumference of your wrist from arm wrestling, whether your bones can actually increase in size. And so, I mean, the first obvious answer is arm wrestle more, right? Do more arm wrestling, train for arm wrestling more. You'll get much stronger wrists. And personally, I don't think that the circumference of your wrist is necessarily a good indicator of how strong you are or your potential, because that's bone. And when we're talking about the actual wrist flexors aren't in your wrist, right? They're down there at the bottom of your ulnar and radial bones. So the size of your wrist isn't necessarily an indicator of the strength of your wrist flexion. So I wouldn't let that discourage you. But what do you guys think? Can you get bigger wrists, or are you stuck with the size you have? And are they a good indicator of your potential in arm wrestling?
I feel like your wrist has gotten bigger, ET. Are yours bigger?
It's funny because I was doing blood flow in the garage the other night, and I was measuring myself because I was 200 pounds, so I lost like 50 and then gained 15 back. So I was kind of seeing where my arms and wrists were. But when I was 200 pounds, my wrist now at 165 is bigger by half an inch than when I first started arm wrestling. And I didn't think that was going to happen because I too researched. And I'm like, oh, there's only bones and tendons in this area. I'm like, how is that going to grow? But it's measuring on my right half an inch bigger than when I started. So
confirmed.
Yeah, I remember I never really measured it when I was new, but I remember I could take my thumb and I could cover my middle thumbnail and go around my wrist when I started. And now when people ask me about that, people bring it up, like I can almost touch my fingers. Fingers, the same thing, right? So it's about an inch or so. Now I don't know if my bones have gotten thicker, but you got a couple things with my way of measuring. My hand has probably gotten thicker, so it can go less around my wrist, right? So there's that to consider. Also, with the tendons and the ligaments and all that stuff, like getting bigger and thicker over time, mixed with I'm heavier now, so there's some body fat probably at play there. So I don't know about the bone. I know it's gotten bigger, about an inch and a half by my style of measuring, but I don't know what it all is contributing to that thickness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I agree. I don't think it's necessarily the biggest physical attribute that has to do with how much strength you can apply at the table, how thick your wrist is. Vitaly Lentin doesn't have a super thick wrist. I mean, even Artem Morzov didn't have a super thick wrist. That's stuff that comes, I think, really over time, over like years and years and years of training. It just gets thicker, but I don't think it's a necessity, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. And yeah, it definitely, whether it's bone or the connective tissue in there, I have a watch that I used to be able to spin around upside down on my wrist. And now I almost need to add a link to it. So yeah, it happens. And I mean, I've pulled people with humongous wrists, like newcomers, and they just, they get top rolled easily. So Don't read too much. Certainly don't get discouraged by your starting wrist circumference, or really any starting measurement for that matter. You have no idea how your body's going to respond to some training. So no, Cognoscience, you are not cursed when it comes to arm wrestling. Next up, I don't know if you guys saw this, RVJ and Jerry Cataract got some table time in. And here's kind of what it looked like. There's Jerry. That's not RVJ on the right.
No, that's James Fitzsimmons.
Here comes RVJ.
Beast, slamming Jim.
Slamming Jim. Yeah, so we're in the cellar. This is one of the first clubs I started at. I can smell it through the screen. And yeah, so
is Jerry pushing down with his tricep in this angle?
What's that?
Is Jerry pushing down with his tricep in this angle?
No, it's more of that like side, honestly, kind of side pressure, as though he's transitioning to the press. He's not quite behind his arm, so it's really almost like internal rotation through the shoulder here, as Jerry is wont to do sometimes. But yeah, it looks like he's not really committing his shoulder there.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you guys think about RVJ?
They get like 15 seconds of them holding the whole video.
I know. That's not me, guys. That's just what the video is. I mean, there's tons of footage, but
what are we doing, bro?
Come on, dude. Give us the goods. He's holding off for something. So there's tons of footage, but I think that's all there is of RVJ and Jerry. So any thoughts on RVJ and Zurab coming up?
Ooh. I think RVJ has more weapons. I think Zurab will be stronger in his move and a hook. I think RVJ will take his hand. And then what happens after that with Zurab being floppy? He's comfortable being floppy and going sideways. Straps, I'm guessing. We'll see what happens after that. I think RVJ might have enough internal rotation and elbow to hold off Zurab's flop press. So off the top of my head, I would give the advantage to RVJ 70-30 in my head.
Wow.
RVJ. What about you, T? What do you think?
RVJ is just the bigger guy in general too, right? Like,
yeah,
much bigger. Yeah, I would say, but he hasn't really had like a big match recently too, right? So,
oh, wow. Sasha, right? Sasha was the last one, and what was that? 3-0?
That was October 2021.
Oh,
and Zurab's had a lot more matches since, so he's probably like more conditioned for a bigger match. I'd say he has better endurance too. Than RVJ, but I do agree RVJ has more weapons, and if he's just stronger up front, then he'd probably win. If the match stops and goes on long, then Zurab can probably take it. But
yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's hard to know. It's been a hot minute since RVJ has been on the international scene like that. So it's like, is he gonna have to get the rust off, or is he just gonna snap right back into things? Really tough to make a prediction on that one. Next up, we have user OK Solution asking, how do you train your pronator muscle? So what are some tips and tricks you guys have for getting strong pronation? And do you do it dynamically or statically? Both? What's the secret?
Pronate.
There you go. All right, next post.
ET, you go first. What do you think?
I shouldn't be going at all for this one because all I do is hook and go inside. My pronation is so bad that like I tried to top roll in my last super match at UAL, and I just went, and my pronator went in, and my arm separated, and then I quickly jumped right back into a hook where I was comfortable. So it's one of those things where I know how to train it basics wise because you taught me, Derek. And there's different movements. It's just a matter of I have to actually do it and start getting out of always supinating in.
No, it's I think pronation. Looking into your pronator, especially most people when they talk about their pronator, they're talking about their pronator teres, not their pronator quadratus, the little one in the wrist. And the pronator teres is also an elbow flexor. So I think that's one big thing to keep in mind when you're doing your pronation training is that if you want your pronator to be isolated and get maximum work, then you should be doing your elbow should be flexing as you're doing the motion, right? So it shouldn't be just straight wristed, right? Because that's going to be more of your quadratus and partial of your pronator teres, right? But because your pronator teres goes down to your elbow right here, it branches off into two. One part stays above the elbow, which is the elbow flexion part, and the one part is up here above the elbow, which is just pure pronation part, right? But so you do both. So it should be curling as you do the pronation. That's one thing to keep in mind. Second thing I think to keep in mind is that the full range of motion for your pronator would be palm up, to palm down, right? Or almost palm up if I'm not moving my elbow to palm down. So when people are training arm wrestling pronation, the biggest thing is that most arm wrestlers, it used to be 99%, but I'll give it like 80% of arm wrestlers train pronation from palm up to thumb up. That's the most major one. You have some kind of belt or martial arts belt. Oh, let me grab my lion strap I have next to me right here real quick. Anyway, so it goes from palm up to thumb up. That's how most people do it, right, with it around their hand. But you got, like I said, the whole contraction of your pronator is to palm down. But if you're doing it from a weight down on the ground or a low pulley system, once you get to your thumb up, you're now just basically hammer curling it or reverse curling it. It's not really hitting your pronation nearly as much. So what I make sure I tell all my guys is to also, after you do I call it defensive pronation, palm up to thumb up, right? And then have your offensive pronation from a high pulley going down, tuck your elbow in, keep your elbow in so it doesn't flare out like this. Right, you want to keep that in, and then finish the pronation, offensive pronation, from a high pulley angle, just pinning, right, going from thumb up to palm down, and you'll feel, and actually, I pull backwards while I do it because, like I said, you should do elbow flexion as you do it, but you'll feel it where it inserts on the top of your forearm. You'll feel a whole different burn than you're feeling when you're doing palm up to thumb up, when you're doing defensive pronation, and so I think that's a big thing to make sure you're getting. And there's other handles and ways you could do both of them at the same time, but most people don't. Most people are doing half reps and never doing the full range movement, right? They're never really working the other end of the range. And the pinning part's pretty important. Being able to go from thumb up to palm down is a pretty important aspect of pronation. You know what I mean? So, and then in terms of reps and sets, if you're new, you have to build a foundation. So I would advise more reps. Tons of reps. Tons of reps and sets at not very heavy weight, right? Start getting used to the motion. As time goes on, I've gone down to where I'm still doing sixes, like 2 sets of 6, different variations of pronation work, like 5 different exercises of pronation, 2 sets of 6 on each one. Really heavy for me. Okay.
Fair. Yeah. No, I think that's really important. One other thing I'll do is I'll put it around my thumb like Derek just showed and stand perpendicular to a pulley system and then walk out more as a way to train not losing your pronation, because even if you're not a top roller, you never want to end up palm up in a match. It's going to shut off your brachioradialis. So having that static defensive pronation, I would say, is important as well. All right, next up, controversial topic here: live streams, commentaries. How do we feel about it? I am on the fence with this one. I mean, first of all, so to catch everyone up, during big events, people will do live commentaries. They'll go live, they'll talk, and not show any of the footage from the event, but basically talk about what's going on as though you're listening to a baseball game on the radio or something. And get asked that everyone not do that for the upcoming East versus West event, and people have all kinds of feelings about that. So, yeah, do you guys feel strongly one way or the other on this topic?
ET, you go first.
Well, I know if I was running an event, I would definitely want people to be watching the event and not branches off of the event that aren't just people talking about it. But personally, I have never really watched someone's commentary because I always buy the event, so I don't know how well they do. I'd imagine if they get a lot of viewers, though, like, in my opinion, it's like, who would want to watch that when you could watch the real event? I don't want to watch someone sitting there in their face just talking about the event when I could watch the event. So I'd have to assume there's a lot of people out there that really like that person more than watching the event, or they really just don't have the means to get the event or care, in which we just need to then keep growing the sport so that people want to watch the event, or that there's really that many people out there that can't afford it, in which case I still don't know if it's right to do that commentary stuff, and people should just wait for the videos to come out when they watch it.
Yeah.
It's a tough situation, though, because it's not like they're using the footage and stealing it. They're just talking about it. So I don't really see that they are doing something completely wrong. It's just not something that I would do or I'd want to watch.
Right.
But and I don't know if it does, but if it's helping people get more in the community and involved, and it does have a lot of people watching and shares and likes, then I can't see it as a bad thing for the sport but more so a bad thing for the people running the event. But I also don't know if it's really taking that much profit from the event, because if you have the money to watch it, you're not going to choose to watch someone commentate over it rather than the live stream itself.
Right.
So I don't think it's taking as much profits as people would think.
Yeah, I think that's right. That's the big question. Are there people out there who can't afford it but care enough to just listen to the matches live? I think one of the things that is changing in this upcoming one is they're going to have a live chat during the promotion. I heard, this is a rumor, but I think that's the case, and that's one of the strongest reasons to do the live commentary is that, you know, if I live in the middle of nowhere and there's no arm wrestlers around me, I can't go to a watch party and hang out with people. It's nice to be able to go into a chat room with a bunch of other people watching the event and just type in the chat and hang out and have fun. So there's definitely value there. And if they're going to add that functionality to East versus West 7, which is rumored to happen, then I think that makes a stronger case for, hey, we shouldn't be doing these live commentaries. It's going to hurt the promotion more than help. But we'll probably have the numbers to back it up, a little more data after this one. And I mean, regardless, Engen asked that people don't do it, so I would recommend, you know, respect Engen's call there and don't do it. But it really just comes down to the numbers, and we'll see if the pay-per-view sales go up for East versus West 7 or what happens there. Derek, any thoughts to share?
I have a lot.
You're commentating, actually.
I have a lot of thoughts on it. But listen to Engen Terzi. Don't do live commentary of the event. Buy the event.
Yeah, it's kind of that simple. Yeah,
that's I mean, I could give you guys a million opinions on it and this, that, and the other. But even if I wasn't commentating on it, my final opinion would be we are completely spoiled having the best thing of East versus West that we've wanted forever. And those guys have been around when we didn't have this for years, where there was so many contracts and they couldn't make any of these matches happen, or before that when it was just like the travel was too much, there was no social media going on, so it didn't make sense. Like there's so many other reasons and excuses we didn't have this. We finally have it. And I know it's not perfect. I know Engen's not perfect. I know everything's not perfect, but we have it. You guys, we should cherish this. If he's asking for something simple, like to stop doing live commentary, then just stop. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it, that's what my biggest opinion would be in the end of it. Like if we lose this, say Engen's just like, you know what, dude, I'm tired of people just trying to take advantage of this, all this hard work I'm doing, like that. Whatever. Whether you believe it's true or not. If he thinks that, he ends this. And people are like, somebody else will just do the same, thing. No, nobody's going to do it. Nobody has the contacts. Nobody has the time of day. No one loves the sport enough to not make any like barely any profit off this at all. Like all year round, dude. When I was out there and I was hanging out with Engen and his family and his wife and stuff, she was just like shaking her head because he just won't stop. Like right after one event, he's planning the next one. He's all excited. He's I'll do 10 matches, but he's already planning his 17th match for the next event. Like, and she's just like, this dude is insane in love with the sport, and people are trying to like, I don't know, chop away at it, thinking he's not. Like he's some guy's out for profit. He's just a promoter. No, he's me with more contacts than in 40 years. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's something I need to, not 40 years. Sorry, you're not that old. Sorry, I always said 40 years.
Send it to him.
But like that would be me, man. If I had the means to do that and the pull and the context of the hotel and everything to make it happen, oh my god. And so I don't know, man. It's not hard just to keep the guy happy and just enjoy the show.
At the end of the day, yeah, you should listen to the guy running it. And it's like $12 or $14, right? I don't think I've missed buying a single one, and I'm still in like $7,000 or $8,000 of medical debt. So it's like there's always going to be a way to find money to do something you want, especially if it's under $50. Let's be real. People will spend more on stuff that's not needed every day, so.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And the value proposition, you're getting like 15 matches for that. So, and they also upload the matches pretty quickly after the event. So there's definitely a strong case to be made. I mean, at the end of the day, just trust Engen. Like Derek said, one of the only reasons this event can even happen is because Engen's so respected. So this is not something that we can just replicate if Engen decides to bow out. So, I think we covered everything there. Next up, we have this is a poll by Armwrestling is Fun. Which will be the first one to rise from the dead? Igor Mazarenko, Gary Roberts, WAL, or Chris Gabi? A little bit of a meme post, but there is some an interesting question buried in here, which is what's going on with the WAL and the PAL? WAL seems to be coming back. I don't know if you've checked out their Facebook page, but they are being more active, and they're like, big things coming, I think was one of their posts. So it's likely we will see the resurgence of the WAL PAL, I haven't heard of peep. How about you guys?
Well, apparently WL is live and well on the East Coast. Apparently the rule sets y'all still running over there. No one got over the WL rule sets. Apparently that's what we still do over there. Just
Hey man, that's how we run things in the East, bro. Get used to it.
And stuff. Barwood, man. Apparently that's what rocks over there.
Yep.
Chris Gabi actually sent me a message right after my match. And Gabi hates me, and he sent me a message like, "Hey, you got screwed. You totally won that match." But either way, I was like, so maybe Chris Gabi might actually be the first one to rise from the dead out of those 4 names. But WL, Devin makes sure to always say whenever anybody mentions WL might be dead, oh no, you guys don't understand, WL is coming. Like he's been saying that for a while. Like don't write it off completely. So he probably knows more than anybody. He's probably on the inside of that. So yeah, it makes sense. WL when we come back, and hopefully they do. Hopefully they get this contract business out of their head, which I don't think they will. I don't think they will.
No.
I think that they'll come back and they're going to keep that whole, we got to get it on TV in the United States. We got to monetize this. We got to control the athletes. We got to lock our athletes down. They're going to come with that approach. And I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know if Devin and all those guys are going to sign up to just be committed only WL again. I don't know if they will. I don't think Devin will. He's making so much money off YouTube and all that stuff. And WL is going to come back with him with some numbers that aren't insane, which he'll make more in a month of YouTube and having, a couple matches than he will off WL. And so they'd have to come super correct, and they're not going to have the views to come that correct with, offer him $5 million. They're not going to have that type of money to throw at Devin right away. So right. I don't see some people, I'm sure would sign the contract, but I don't think like Devin or Michael Todd would or things like that. I don't think.
Fair.
Who knows?
Yeah. ET, any thoughts there? Like you said, you got into the sport with a WAL match, right? Same here. So
yeah.
You missed it. You want it back? What's the deal?
I mean, sure, yeah, I'd love for them to come back. I definitely don't like the idea of athletes being super tied down to contracts to any one specific league or things like that. I believe we should all be free to travel. And, because when you do something like that, then it makes it harder to get matches with people from other countries or anywhere, and then you don't really see where people are. So I like how King of the Table and East vs. West is right now, where people can kind of go back and forth between the events and challenge each other. But yeah, when I started arm wrestling, WAL was the top league at the time, and I was always just imagining myself being up there at WAL and having like an awesome match with someone. But I guess when you get to that level, it doesn't matter what league you're doing it at. Just the opportunity to be able to do that will probably be amazing in itself, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. It's just the dynamic has changed so much with East versus West now. It's going to be really hard to go back to those restrictive contracts and stay on the good side of the community. But yeah, I sent some emails. There's a consulting group that is now working with the WAL, and I reached out to them to see if I could get some info, and they are working on things. So things absolutely are moving, and I expect we'll see an event of some type, whether it's a tournament or back to their Super Match Series this summer. But stay tuned there. Next up, how about this one? A non-user asks, East versus West, why not always start in the straps? And maybe we can expand that. Do you guys think it makes sense or we will get to the point where arm wrestling just is in the straps? The trend is clearly going to more straps. Do you like that idea? Do you hate that idea? Is it good for tournaments? Is it going to speed things up, or do we have it right where only if you slip, you go to a strap?
I don't know. I think as top roller, as there's more and more top rollers, there's gonna be more and more straps, right? Top rolling is an offensive motion, and I think that especially with Devin promoting, never holding on and rolling out, I think more and more people are getting into top rolling or an outside style of arm wrestling, and openly promoting don't ever hold on to your opponent, right? That's like the biggest thing. Which back in the day, one of the biggest things people will give you crap about the straps is like you'll hear a lot of old time arm wrestlers say like, "What are you doing? No straps. Hold on to each other." Hold on. If you let go back in the day, 30 years ago, you were the guy letting go at tournaments. You were going to get roasted. You might get beat up in the parking lot. You know what I mean? Like that was, you don't do that. And nowadays, it's just like if you're not holding on, I mean, if you're holding on to a guy, you're a loser. What are you doing holding on to a guy? Like, no one holds on. And so I think as that's slowly changing, more and more people are getting used to being outside pullers or more offensive and never holding on. Then the straps are just going to be a bigger thing more and more of the time. I mean, every once in a while you get dopes like me who like trust their hand and like to hold on too much. But yeah, I think in the future there'll be more and more straps, but there's such a big part of arm wrestling that is outside the straps that I think gets lost once you go in the straps. There's so many small technique changes you can do and adjustments you can make outside the straps to be efficient that that's awesome. And so I think I think strap arm wrestling is a lot more basic, I guess is the way to put it. The pressures are more basic and not as dynamic. There's not so many options, which I think takes away from things a little bit. So I hope that they don't go to more straps. I mean, I'm not just saying that because I trust my hand. I'm saying that because I just think the matches can be more fluid and more things can happen outside of the straps, in my opinion.
ET, how do you feel about it? Permanent straps.
It's like personally, in my opinion, it'd be hard to make a decision based in general because there's some opponents when I go up against in a tournament that I might not want to be in the straps against, and some that I definitely want to be in against. And it's one of those things where you can really trust your arm more and not think about your hand as much in the straps as well. There's benefits, I think, like Derek said, to the straps, but there's also benefits to outside of it. Arm wrestling as a combat sport is like an art, and there's so much that you can do in the straps, and there's also so much you can do out of the straps. Taking that away would kind of take away part of that art. But in terms of efficiency, you know, if people are just going to set up, slip, and end up in the straps anyway, then tournament days would go longer, I'd imagine, than if they just put everyone. You think like if you put everyone in the straps right away, it might take more time. But if everyone's like slipping and messing around, then it might end up taking even more time. So it's just you kind of have to weigh out: is it because you want tournaments to go faster? Is it because everyone should be pulling in the straps? I think at the end of the day, though, people should have the choice. I do want to get better in the straps, and I think most elite matches do end up in the straps, so you have to be prepared for that. But sometimes it's fun watching someone earn it. You know, there's nothing like someone trying to slip and you're just grabbing onto their thumb or doing an exploding hand and taking all that stuff out would kind of tarnish what arm wrestling has been for so many years, right? So.
Yeah, no, that's a fair answer. There is tournaments. I can see an argument for it just out of an efficiency sake. I mean, like, at some tournaments, I'll get there and I won't arm wrestle for 6-7 hours until it's your turn, and a lot of that time is wasted just with a match and then a slip, right? And it's really subjective trying to say, hey, that was an intentional slip. It wasn't an intentional slip, and then there's all kinds of controversy there. So I can see an argument for it in tournaments, maybe not so much in super matches, but the trend is clear. We're definitely seeing more strap matches, but whether it should be mandated, no, I don't think we're there yet. I do, however, like the idea of starting in a ref script. I think just having a standardized start instead of having people tussle for 30 seconds trying to get their grip. Yeah, that you could say that's part of the game, but personally, I like when it's just get up there, you know what you're going to get, you know what a ref grip is, and you can just train for that at practice as opposed to, I don't know what kind of grip we're going to end up with when we're negotiating, and of course, the time factor. Agree, disagree? What do you guys think about starting in a ref script?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that it's fair arm wrestling, right? It's a fair grip. So I still do like the gamesmanship about finding a grip and trying to get your advantage, and me trying to stop you from getting your advantage, getting my advantage. I love all that stuff, but in the end, the match can still be super versatile from a fair ref grip. From a strap, I think it takes away from that. So
Fair.
in terms of versatility and excitement, a ref grip is fine. At least we're making sure they're starting dead even, I guess. But it can still get crazy after that.
Yeah. Okay. ET, how do you feel about ref scripts?
I'm horrible in ref script because I love hooking and coming forward. It really makes it a lot harder to get that wrist-to-wrist contact in ref script, and you'd have to play with it more. And then you try to get something better in ref script, and then you get fouled, and now you're like, oh no, I can't risk another foul. So I personally don't like ref script, but I also think that that's just me. I think for the better of arm wrestling, yeah, start everyone in ref script. Tournaments would go so much faster. I just need to learn to get better at it or change my style or just become so much stronger where it doesn't matter. I do think ref grip would be great. I do like how people can fight for a grip, but in terms of if you want to know who really is stronger, set them up in an even grip and have them start in ref's grip. Some people are just so good at getting advantages that go unnoticed outside of ref's grip. But more than anything, I think what would be better for tournaments is they should run pros before amateurs. It's not a separate day.
What? Crazy.
Yes. No. Why not?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because Derek, we were just at a tournament where amateurs went first. So you're for that. Is that for growing the sport? You want amateurs to come back and feel and not have to wait around all day? Is that kind of the idea there?
I mean, it's just how it's been, and plus you want to. I don't know.
But check this out, Derek.
What?
Like, say you have a bunch of pros, you see amateurs their first time, then they just get called up right away. Oh, I'm probably going to have to mute for a second. I got a customer.
Oh. But I like when they run both, like one table amateurs, one table pros.
Yes,
like
that's it. That is the way, man.
And, I think that's more tables, man. We just need more tables on these tournaments. As the tournament's getting bigger, you need more consecutive tables running together at the same time. And I think that's the way to run through these events faster and more efficiently.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 for pro and 2 for amateur. 4 tables.
Yeah. Right. That's good because then you can at least look forward to your match coming up at some point.
As the sport grows, being a certified ref, man, that might be a legit job. Like might be able to become someone's full-time job. Like, and it's, a lot of these promotions, I think they fly them out, right? They pay for their flight and hotel.
Yeah, for like the serious ones, like Leonard Harkless, he's getting taken care of, man. Bill Collins, obviously, at King of the Table.
What's that website? There's a website you can contact to get certified. I can't remember off the top of my head. Do you know what it is?
It depends. I think there's like multiple certs now because of the WAF and IFA divide. I think like if you want to be a WAF guy, you got to go here, and if you want to be an IFA guy, there's a different certification course, and I think a few others too. I think PAL had one, so I think it depends. But no, I don't know the website you're referring to off the top of my head.
Yeah, I forget who hosts who runs it. But either way, if you guys listen to this and you're thinking about becoming a ref, I mean, it's not the worst time. As the sport gets bigger, man, they're going to need more and more certified refs, and they'll pay for you to go out. You can all usually pull the event and ref. Maybe pull a weight class and ref. They'll probably let that happen. Not the worst idea. I thought about it back in the day. I thought about it for a while, just so I can go around to more tournaments.
Cool. Yeah, you got to have thick skin though. That's for sure.
Oh God, it's the worst.
It can be a rough gig, but whatever.
I ref the Mexican Nationals. I'm not even certified. I was the head ref for the entire Mexican Nationals, and I wasn't. I told them I'm not even a certified ref. And it was me, a guy who knew the rules pretty well, and then 2 guys who had never even been on an arm wrestling table. So they didn't know the rules. They didn't know anything. They were the down refs. So the other guy,
out of desperation, like how do you end up in that situation?
The other guy was like, all right, he's trying to teach them how to ref right before like 30 minutes before the Nationals. This is the national tournament. And I mean, I did my best. I told them a bunch I'm not certified, but they didn't really care. I mean, it's pretty crazy rules. It was it was wild down there.
That sounds wild, man. All right, we're creeping into Aussie Arm Wrestlers Monday time, so we do have to call it. I was hoping ET would be back to finish his answer, but he is at work, in case you guys are wondering. So anytime a customer comes in, he's got to bounce.
But hey guys, I'm gonna say right now, this is on Ryan's channel, guys. He's almost monetized. What's the update? Update on the monetization, Ryan. Where are we at?
This should honestly do it, man. We're like 100 watch hours away, and so this should do it. So thank you
on this and let it run in the background while you guys go to sleep or go do the dishes or something or go take a crap. I'm telling you, we got to get him up to the hours, man. He's so close to being monetized. I would appreciate it as a favor to me, guys. If you guys are fans of mine, please help Ryan out. We got to get this show on the road here.
You're too good to me, Derek. And speaking of next week, this podcast is every Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Pacific time, and we're going back to Derek's channel next week. So check that out, and we'll see if we can get another cool guest. Huge thank you to ET for coming on here. I'm hoping he comes back from the customer so we can thank him personally. Can you
host a poll right now on StreamYard?
What's that?
Can you put a poll in the chat or no?
I don't see it on the UI in front of me. What are we looking for?
I was going to ask them how often they think we should have guests.
Every
other week, every other week. Like, should we, like one with just me and you, then, so every other week? I don't know. Yeah. I wonder if you get in the chat, let us know. How often should we have guests? Every other week or every week, every 3 weeks? Let me know what you guys think. I'm interested. I've been trying to think of the cadence on that, the pace for guests.
Yeah. No, this was fun. ET had some really good answers there, so we appreciate him coming on.
That's my boy. Tom, everything he knows, man.
Well, I missed that.
So that's my boy. Tom, everything he knows. Yeah.
That's right. Well, you probably
there he is.
Hey, the man of the hour.
Okay.
So you want to finish your answer that you're about to say about ref script?
What answer?
Oh, was it ref script? Was that what it was?
Yeah, you're saying whether or not you'd like to start in a ref script every time.
Oh yeah, no, I agree to that. No, it was the pros before amateurs.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well, so
you guys are about to go at it.
Just this last tournament, they make all the amateurs go first, like most tournaments do, and the tournament ran smooth. But I think the reason why a lot of people do it is because a lot of people want to watch the pros, so the amateurs will pull, and then they stick around and watch the pros. Almost at the end of the day, when the tournament was done and there's after pulling, I only saw 95% of the people after pulling were pros because all the amateurs just took their medals and left. So in terms of keeping people there, I think it's complete BS. Um, if people are going to come, pull, and leave, they're going to do that anyway. Why not have the pros go first? Because pros should have the opportunity over amateurs to get their medal and leave. If you want the crowd to look bigger, advertise better. At the end of the day, you're not going to make more money from having pros wait all the way till the end of the day to pull because every entry fee has already been paid for and signed up. You're not going to make any more money on that day, really, unless you're doing a bunch of vendors and stuff. So I think that pros should go first because imagine as the sport grows, there's going to be a bunch of amateurs that are going to be pulling their first week or first day and just pulling a tournament. Don't you think they should see the pros go first to see how it's done before just jumping into an amateur tournament anyway? I think there's way more benefits to pros going first. Also, that they're more seasoned and have put more time in, so that let them get their stuff done instead of sitting around all day. Just my opinion, but
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I like at least one pro table going if you're going to be running the amateurs first. At least one. Honestly, most tournaments just need another table anyway. The scene is growing, and 3 isn't cutting it for a lot of these tournaments anymore. But yeah, we are into Aussie Arm Wrestlers Maximum Bang Monday time. So everyone head over to Maximum Bang Monday with Aussie, Uncle John, and tell him we sent you. Thank you so much for tuning in. ET, it was great to have you on here and get your thoughts on things. You had some really good answers. So thank you so much.
Shout out sponsors. Shout out your sponsors, ET, while you're here. What do you got?
Bucked Up, #1 sponsor, Flex Pro Meals, best meal preps in the world. You get 20% off of that. And you want motorcycle gear? I got that. Check out all the stuff if you guys are interested.
How do you get the 20% off? Is there a code or is it a?
Yeah, so for all my stuff, it should be code Whisper, all caps.
Nice.
For the meal prep stuff, it's probably one of like the best deals you can get because I am horrible at cooking, and the steak I get from them is like even better than the steak I can make. And
Nice.
if you want awesome knives, Kershaw Knives.
There you go.
And shout out to Lion Straps, you guys. Maybe go to lionstraps.net, and I got discount code AWDerek on lionstraps.net. That Filthy Power Industries, the AW Switch, hats, shirts, stickers, and things like that we sell out there. And yeah, if you guys get a chance, go over to my channel as well. Get a subscribe and like, follow. ET has a huge channel, surpassed mine in like a month and a half. I hate him so much for his channel. So you guys obviously check out ET's channel and give him a subscribe if you're not already.
I agree, Sarah. Yeah, two days, 1 day amateur and 1 day pro. When the sport gets big enough, I think we'll have to do that because tournaments would just go too long with amateurs and pros in 1 day.
Yeah. We're off the hook, by the way. No Maximum Bang Monday today because Aussie is traveling home from Norway. Whew. All right.
Oh, Jake loves us, man. He would never get mad.
Yeah, no. Don't want to get called out in that accent. All right. So, but yeah, next week, same time at Derek's channel. So check it out. We're going to do more fun stuff, answer more questions from the community. And again, thank you, ET, for joining us. This was a blast. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. And we will see you next week.
See you guys.
Take care.
Later, guys.
Take care.